PC WizKid here with something brand new from Zotac Gaming, the GeForce RTX 2070 AMP series graphics card. That's right, brand new from nvidia. Zotac brings it to you with these factory overclocked series AMP graphics cards. 8 gigs of GDDR6 brand new memory. Love it, okay? And we're going to look at this more in detail. Here is the SKU number of the card that we're looking at today. A few things to talk about right off the bat. Firestorm software with the Spectra effect lighting, love it. Active fan control in there. You got 2 fans that are working in unison, all independent and adjusting accordingly to the speeds that it needs in order to get things cooled. The Spectra lighting, I gotta tell you, I love being able to play around with my LED lighting inside of the case and make everything match. Terrific that they've added that, and the USB Type-C again to future-proof yourself. If you're getting some VR goggles or headsets, things like that. Like I mentioned, factory overclocked at 1740 megahertz there on the boost clock from the default 1620 megahertz that it comes with the blower fans these days from nvidia. Again, the Ice Storm 2.0 cooling, very nice. We're going to look at that more in detail as well. And, well, what can I say? I mean, I'm really looking forward to showing you the software that it comes with. So not just those features, the hardware features, but also the software features, because everything works together to really optimize and bring this card to work at peak performance. Now, going through this a little bit further, effectively your memory clock is going to run at 14 gigabits per second there, but that's, you know, a really good way of looking at it. If you're looking for bandwidth, you're looking for a lot of high resolution graphics, you're looking for maximizing your 4K monitor display. This can take 4 displays at once, 4K monitors, of course. You've got the Type-C that I mentioned. Everything is going to be, you know, ready for you for the future with this type of graphics card. Now, does it bring anything more to the table than the previous generation? I'm going to show you that in just a second. Let's open up the box and take a peek at what it comes with. All right, so first things first. We got some literature here, some papers, some manuals, some different types of information to basically get you going and installing things. Always remember, download the latest drivers, okay, the latest GeForce NVIDIA drivers, always, because that's going to give you optimized patches, fixes, and game settings, of course. In there, you're going to get the power supply cables for your PCI Express, okay? So make sure that you check that over. You know, 550 watt power supply, good to go with this. But look at this beauty. Look at those 2 active fans. Are those cool or what? Beautiful. You know, one will run slightly faster than the other. You can adjust that through the software and control it, create profiles. At the top here, you've got your LED lighting that Zotac Gaming will light up. Okay, you can have it do different effects and heartbeat and glow and stuff like that. I'll show you that in just a moment as well. Looking at it also from the top, the heat sink, you can see that plate also going through the back, and that long aluminum heat sink with all those fins from one side to the other for that complete cooling. And the back plate is very nice, rigid, strong construction, you know. The plugs at the back for the 2 display ports, as you can see, there's 2 on one side, 1 on the other, and the Type-C connector and your HDMI. Everything's good to go right there. 4 displays, plug them all in there. You're going to be a happy person. Now, what else can I tell you? Here is the Live to Game and the Zotac Gaming logo there embossed on the side, you know, kind of hidden in from view, but very nice. I like that matte finish on there as well. So good quality construction, very nice, elegant card. There's your 6-pin and your 8-pin connector. Okay, remember that. You got to have appropriate power, and your Zotac Gaming logo there at the top, which again you can have enabled or disabled, up to you, and all of those fins for the aluminum heatsink with 4 copper heat pipes, by the way, that are going through it on the side. That's 8 millimeters in diameter each. That's really going straight through to optimize and really give you the maximum cooling to work with those 2 active fans. So very nice on the Ice Storm cooling technique that they've got going on here with Zotac. Love it. Definitely very excited to show that to you. Moving on here to my test system. You can pause the screen at any time. Take a peek at these high quality construction and parts that I'm using in here. Of course, we want to maximize performance. We don't want any lag. We don't want anything being bogged down. So we've got everything optimized in unison to work really well and to maximize the cooling as well. So there you have it. those are all the components. 8-core CPU, 4 gigahertz running there, full guns blazing, and we're going to really put this to the test right now, starting, of course, with showing you the card installed. Okay, so here it is working away. I went into the software and made it red because the rest of the components inside of my machine are glowing red, so I had it matching that way. So of course, if you don't want it that color, you don't want it to be blinking or doing whatever, you can just have it blue, right, like that. You know, whatever you want. It's up to you. I'll show you the software in just a second. Firestorm software here allows you to set up profiles, your fan speeds. You can, adjust the clocks and all that stuff and save it. Here in CPU-Z, you can see I've got the AMD CPU, and I've got the motherboard that I showed you a second ago, 16 gigs of memory. So everything, like I showed you a second ago, is running here in the background on idle. Okay, so obviously I'm not really doing anything yet. And you can see also the default clock speeds out of the factory, but of course it comes pre-overclocked, so you can see the boost there is at 1740 megahertz. Very nice. I do like the bandwidth there, high bandwidth at 448 GB per second, and also the bus width 256-bit. Very nice as well with those shaders, the CUDA cores at 2304. Very nice also. And well, what else can I say? Let's put it to the test. First things first, I gotta tell you, those fans, those active fans, are keeping it cool at about 26, 27 degrees Celsius on idle. You can see it right there. I'm not joking. Okay, very nice. About 41, 44% is what the fans are working at capacity right now. So that's what it needs to keep it at around that temperature. And I don't have multiple GPUs, of course, because that's not supported on this specific 2070. And as you can see, we can control things and set up things any way you want and save it as profiles, and also the spectra lighting as well. You can see there the LED modes and the effects that you can set things up. I showed you blue before. I had it on red because that's what matches with the rest of my components, and I saved that, and it looks very, very nice. Okay, one of these cards gives you enough power. I'll tell you, I'm going to show you in just a moment some benchmarks. Here are, again, the RPMs of those fans, those 2 active fans that are running, and as well as the power usage. So on idle, about 18 watts, full-blown guns, everything running on the GPU, 180 watts max on that TDP that you can see right there, roughly. And of course, 100% load. You wouldn't really be running the card at 100% load constantly. I mean, that's pretty much not something that I would recommend doing anyways. But there you have it. It's a beautiful sight to see when it's purring along and it's very quiet and you can barely hear it, and they're working in unison. Now, benchmarks. Let's start off with some synthetic benchmarks from FutureMark and 3D Mark tools that they've got. And I've been running those for a long time. I've updated the tools, of course, and you can see here that what I'm comparing you is their base 4K gaming PC, which is running 2 GTX 980s and SLI. Well, this one beats 2 of those. So you only need one card, one 2070, to beat 2 of those cards. So there you have it. I mean, it's definitely better than the older generation cards, and it's a beauty. I mean, just imagine right now you could be running things on ultra, everything on full-blown settings, and it's super smooth. It's just a sight to see, I tell you. And running all of these benchmarks, I mean, it just proves it one after the other. I did a search also. I picked the same CPU, same graphics card. 40 results came up because it's brand new, so there's not that many out there yet. Only 40 results. And out of those 40, my score of 9027 was roughly about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. I was the 8th one down the list. So I know I'm really surprised to see how well my machine did with that score of 9027 compared to other machines. So I'm really proud that my test system really exceeded expectations here, and it did really well to bring out what the capabilities are of this Zotac Gaming Amp 2070. I tell you, it's a beauty. And running those benchmarks from FutureMark, it didn't really go over 55 degrees Celsius. It was just roughly around there because it never did reach full-blown 100% load constantly, right? It just reached 90 to 95, around there. The performance test benchmark that I ran, a separate tool, also did some 3D graphics, and it compared it to the RX 580, for example. It beat that by a mile, and you can see right there my score in orange of 14223, which actually exceeded and beat the default RTX 2070 score of 13960. So again, my system exceeded expectations right there. So I'm really proud again to show you those results and how well this machine did. Again, fine-tuning things and having it really brings it out. Cinebench, again, if you're looking for OpenGL, you're trying to get the most out of the Vulkan API and trying to get the most out of that in your gaming, those are some scores to look at as well. Here's something interesting from V-Ray Benchmark, something new that I haven't been using, but I'm going to start using this now because of the RTX architecture from NVIDIA. We're going to be seeing more and more about this, and here's how this really positions when it did its benchmarks compared to these other GPUs. Okay, so keep your eyes on this one. Now let's go over now to some game benchmarks. I know you're very eager to see the Battlefield 5, but we're going to start off first with Final Fantasy, the latest one here. As you can see, running it on standard quality at 1440p resolution, and then again on high quality, you can see those are the performance scores, which it gave high, of course, because this is a high-end gaming system. Strange Brigade, brand new game, running it on ultra settings as well. As you can see here, beautiful results. I really love this game, how smooth everything felt. Very, very interesting game. Again, single player, multiplayer, it doesn't matter. The graphics are just amazing, right? And again, I'm running this with the Vulkan API, and you can see it right there on ultra graphic settings and on high graphic settings. Just mind-blowing how great the game is, how smooth the graphics are, and I really enjoyed this, and I'm hoping you like the graphics there as well. Looking now at another game, Far Cry 5. Tried that out many times, and here's some benchmarks again, running this on Ultra, so you can see it right there at those resolutions and those settings. And again on high, so we're running it at 1080p also, we're running it at 2K, we're running it on different modes here, so you can get an idea on how it performs in case not all of you might have a 4K monitor, right? Some of you are running things on lower resolution, so there you have it. And again, Far Cry 5, beautiful, smooth graphics, beautiful. I love what they did here. They did a great job, and it's very, very interesting to see how smooth the graphics are. Here's another game, Call of Duty, okay, World War II, as you can see right there. Those are the graphic settings that I've got. Okay, of course, we had them on the highest, and then we brought it down one notch to high. Here's single player mode first to show you the capture of the hill, and running it on extra high there graphic settings and on high graphic settings. Those are the minimum, average, and maximum frames per second that I got, as you can see. So very nice. Enjoyed playing this game, no hiccups at all. And again, it's all about fine-tuning and getting the right components for your system if you can afford them, of course. And if you're an enthusiast like me, then this is really what you want. Now, going further into other games, right? A little bit more spooky. Okay, we're looking at Resident Evil 7. Okay, so just to give you an idea on very high graphic settings here, we're getting a minimum, average, and maximum frames per second that you can see right there, but this is really nice. Again, I'm not really finding any problems here. I'm trying to see where we get a hiccup, but none to be found. Thief. If you've seen Thief before, here are the benchmarks for that one on Ultra and on high. You can see there the benchmark settings. Very nice, fast benchmark settings. Again, whether it's on high settings or ultra high, they're way over 100 frames per second. I mean, this is really, really nice. Okay, this is the game that you guys have been waiting for, Battlefield 5. I got to make a note here before we get into it. The DXR first release, with all the updates and everything, NVIDIA is making some suggestions on their website. I read it, I looked at it. They made some recommendations. They said, you have to update Windows 10 to the latest build in October if you really want to see these updates and take advantage of it. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to use the ray traced reflections quality setting. You're not going to be able to see that either. And also, they said to disable these other options to make sure that things are optimized properly so that way you can get the best effect and performance out of it. So, there's a little bit of reading they have to do because this is brand new and there are bugs in Battlefield 5. They're still trying to optimize and fix and tweak things. So I expect patches coming down the road to increase the performance, frames per second, and so forth. So we're looking for that. In the meantime, the GeForce drivers are optimizing what they can. They're setting things up the way they can. Right now, here's a screenshot of how things looked before I did any updates. So before I updated my Windows 10 to the latest October build release, I did some tweaking later, and I updated everything, and then and then I went into the settings and they changed. Okay, the graphic options then were enabled now, and I saw the DXR enabled option there at the top appeared, and also at the very bottom I had the DXR ray trace reflections quality enabled to low. So that was there, and then it was just a matter of saying, okay, let's do some benchmarking with single player and multiplayer and see what it looks like. So before updating it to the latest Windows and patches and things like that, I did some benchmarks before I did any updating. And here are the benchmarks that I got on single player, so you can get a feel for it running there at the default, and also on multiplayer, again, without doing any updates, so that way you can see how it was performing on single player and multiplayer. Again, very nice, smooth graphics. I enjoyed it right off the bat without the ray tracing being there at all. Then I updated everything. I updated Windows, updated everything that they said that I needed to do, and did the optimization like they said, and had everything enabled with the ray tracing to low. And those are the benchmarks that I got, again, on single and on the multiplayer modes. Okay, again, for me, anything over 60 frames per second, I'm happy. Anything over 100 frames per second, and I am on cloud 9. Okay, so obviously, it depends on what you want to do. I'm waiting, of course, for more patches and updates from the folks at DICE, from the folks that are making and developing, Battlefield 5, to see if they can really get their act and have the best optimized updates for us, so that way I can get more frames per second. But I mean, I'm enjoying every bit of this game, and I'll probably be making more videos for you as these patches and updates come out from both nvidia and from Battlefield 5, to see how much more improvements we're getting and from this. Okay, so stay tuned for that as well. But so far so good. I mean, the game itself very smooth, no hiccups that I could see, that I could find, that were very obvious. I mean, there are some bugs within the game, but it has nothing to do with the Zotac gaming graphics card. The 2070 amp itself is running very nice, cool, and quiet, like I mentioned earlier. For those of you that are still playing Battlefield 4, no problem. Here's a quick benchmark that I did there on the 1440p on ultra graphics setting. Very fast, very smooth, of course, and definitely loved playing a little bit of Battlefield 4 for you guys, so definitely loved getting some benchmarks there. And also, another Battlefield game. Let's not forget, there is more than just Battlefield 5, 4. There's also Battlefield 1. That's right. I have here Battlefield 1, DirectX 12 enabled with ultra graphics settings. The average frames per second that I was getting on this, 135 frames per second on the Zotac Gaming 2070 amp graphics card. This RTX card just blows everything out of the water. It's so nice and smooth. Again, my system is tweaked, and it is running faster than a default RTX 2070. So I'm really happy. Fallout 4, for those of you that know, Fallout 4 is a very demanding game when it comes to the graphics engine that it uses. So I thought I'd run some quick benchmarks on that one, and had really high averages there of 123 frames per second. So I'm really happy again with how this graphics card from Zotac performed. Beautiful GeForce RTX written on the side there on the top. Here it is. Manufacturer suggested retail price of $599.99 US. Some may sell for less. I'll add the best deals that I can find below in the description. I'll add the link, okay, so you can click on that if you're interested in purchasing or looking at that right now. Comment below, let me know what you think. I definitely loved and recommend this card, and special thanks to Zotac for providing it. And again, thank you for watching.